Welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. I'm Weasel from FoodMexSource.com. This is an hour-long podcast dedicated to all things Mexican football. On today's show, we'll be talking all about the news for Chicharito going to Bayer Leverkusen, the Porto, the new Mexico team in Europe, like everyone likes to call it, Layun, and Tecatito. Big news for today. We'll be talking about Tuca Ferretti's 23-man list. The drama already. Two big names are out. Ochoa obviously not going to be there. Lots and lots to talk about today. 12 in. We do have a game coming up on Friday versus Trinidad and Tobago and against Argentina next week. Lots and lots to talk about on this edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. But first, let's see who's with us today. The experts. We'll have Tom from Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mr. Tom Marshall. How are you, sir?
Very good, thanks. Enjoying the music, Weasel.
Yeah.
Want to make it clear to everyone that you picked the music?
No, I did not pick the music. You have
Tom, what would you have chosen instead?
The music itself. I think.
I want to know what Tom would have chosen instead of this.
I have no idea, Mr. Producer. What song do we have? La Puerta Negra, ladies and gentlemen. La Puerta Negra. That's what we have. Cesar. Yeah. How's it going, sir? Oh, sorry, Tom. Did I just cut you off?
Yeah, you did. Cut Tom off.
Cesar, welcome.
Doing well. Yeah, guten Tag, guten Tag.
Get that German.
Glad we're talking about kleine Erbse. As I've come to. What was that?
Was that little P in German?
Yes,
Apparently,
it is.
that's what it was in Google Translate. But then some guy kept bothering me on Twitter, and he said it's actually just Erbschen. I have no clue. I mean, I'm mispronouncing it anyway, so I'm sorry for all one of you German speakers out there.
And on today's show, you know her, Soccer Canales, Andrea Canales in California, in Los Angeles, was on a show with us with the news for Tuca Ferretti. Welcome, Andrea. How are you?
Sprechen Sie English.
There it is.
There you go.
Everyone's learning the German. Is it German?
Don't tell Donald Trump. He won't be happy.
All right, guys. Well, if you have a chance to join us on the chat, you do so on the YouTube channel. We have a lot of people already commenting on the show. Your views, you can fight, you can critique what we're wearing today. I am wearing a blazer, un saco. Somebody said to me that was un poquito fachosos, that we need to dress up for this. A lot of people are watching this, so today, just for you.
Which is why I'm wearing my pajama shirt. So.
Yeah, nobody won does.
Actually, I didn't wear in the cast. It's just me, so we're ready to go. But lots and lots to talk about today, guys. So we'll go ahead and start with the first news. Probably the big news of the day. Well, my PowerPoint presentation. For big news of the day, obviously Chicharito in the last day of the transfers, right? And many people were saying that, especially after last week's performance, Chicharito having a horrible, horrible game, missing a penalty kick, missing pretty much just a tap in, was going to have another of his seasons that he's had in a couple of years where he doesn't get any playing time. Where we were talking about him having to prove himself to Mr. Luis Van Gaal, but now, obviously today, we have the news that he is and it was finally not only transferring but signing with Bayer Leverkusen, and obviously Twitter exploded because a year ago he signed with Real Madrid. We were having the show exactly a year ago, but I want to hear your thoughts right away with the transfer, Tom. From what you're telling me in your Twitter, this is big news because especially in the last week he wasn't getting the treatment that we kind of wanted you to have, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's really positive for him. But I think it's going to give him a lot better chance of playing, and I think all the way through I've like kind of said he needs to be playing in one of the top leagues, and obviously Bundesliga is one of the top leagues. Champions League would be ideal. He's going to be in the Champions League, and yeah, I think there's a good chance of him getting playing time. I think all along, I think those have been the three kind of parameters for whichever club are interested or that he could move to. And I think that I think it's a great move for him. I think that it's not as it's not moving to Real Madrid. It's not Manchester United. It doesn't have that same kind of allure, that same kind of history and tradition, and that that mystique about it by Leverkusen. But I think from where he's at now at 27 years old, it's a solid it's a solid move, and it gives him a platform to play more games, to score goals, and consolidate himself for Mexico as well. Because let's not forget that he's played at 2 World Cups and he's not been an automatic starter in either, despite him only being 6 goals off Jared Borghetti, which is strange.
Yeah, many people were saying, we want Chicharito to be, in a team so he can be, starting at Manchester United, Real Madrid. But you said it, Tom. Even in L3, he sat in the bench in the World Cups in some of the games. Cesar, the little P, you said it.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? Initial reactions.
I think it's good. I think it's still a big club. It's not like it's a small club in Germany. They're typically title contenders, although it's a little difficult to compete against someone like the likes of Bayern Munich, or Bayern München. It's still a very good club. But like Tom was saying, it fulfills a lot of things that I think Chicharito would be looking for in a club. They're title contenders. They're in the Champions League. They're a big team, and he's probably going to have playing time with them. I mean, now the big question is how much playing time he's going to get. There was a striker who just left on loan. I believe he was an Australian striker. I forget his name, so that's good.
Robbie Cruz.
Robbie Cruz, there you go. And but now it's just if he can take over the spot from Stefan Kiesling. And right now he's in his 30s now. He's been with he's been with Bayer for since 2006, and he has 123 goals. But it's looking like he might be a little bit more inconsistent recently. So I think that's the big question, is if Chicharito could take over that role that he's currently at, Chicharito could become the starter. And if not, I mean, it looks like Bayer's still involved in a lot of different competitions, and he'll still gain much more playing time than he did in Manchester United or Real Madrid.
Well, you said, moving from the bigger club, everyone would like him to have a mid-table club. He's going to an important club. Andrea, could this negatively impact if he doesn't get the starting spot? Here we are. The only reason why he's not getting him, because he's competing against Benzema in Real Madrid, Rooney. I mean, back before, Van Persie. He's had these amazing strikers, world-class strikers next to him, and would give him kind of the excuse. But you see him now, from what I was told, he's been talking to Bayer since the Real Madrid move, and he should be able to get playing time. That's why he's there talking to the coach, to the people from Bayer. But what if he doesn't?
Yeah, and I think there's actually a very good possibility of that in the sense that Bayer's style is very, it's very energetic, and it's very a lot of different players putting shots on goal and rushing the ball up the field. And Chicharito, without getting regular game time, he's not really 90 minutes fit right now. And to be part of a team that has a very strong engine that's going back and forth on the field a lot, he's more of a poacher. And as much as it's been hard for him to get playing time against some of the top strikers he's worked with, he's also been able to benefit by the attention that's being paid on these other strikers. Like when Cristiano Ronaldo finally sends that pass to Chicharito, Chicharito's open because he's not the focus. It's Ronaldo, it's the other strikers, Van Persie and whatnot. So he's been able to sneak in there and be effective with some of the really great personnel, and he's had some great midfielders to give him good service. Chicharito's game is not to work the ball out of the midfield. That's not what he does really well. He's really opportunistic, and if they're able to find him, yeah, he can get really good goals. But I don't really think that Leverkusen's style fits him so well. And if he doesn't get in there and start to click from the beginning, I really think that, Leverkusen does want to, charge up against the big clubs. And if they don't get production out of Little P from the get-go, there's a good chance that he's going to find himself on the bench and relegated to more champions or smaller league stuff. And in that sense, I really think it's going to hurt him, because you're right. There's no excuse for him to hide behind anymore.
Yeah, and it could have hurt him. But Tom, looking at it in the way that he had compared to his Chivas, days when he was there in Chivas, not wearing number 14 anymore. He's wearing number 7. But do you think it's going to be one of those that type of game when he had, just like he was playing in Chivas in his first season when he did make the Manchester? Do you think it's going to be more of that type of Chicharito? And we saw him there.
Yeah, I think he's a lot better player than he was when he started the Champions League final in 2011, or I think he's improved a lot as a player, and I think he's going to show that, and I think Leverkusen's a good level for him. And I think Leverkusen's style might suit him, and I say that because they're not the type of team. I think United under Van Gaal was the opposite of what's good for him, because they're so like kind of systematic in the build-up, and it's obviously got boring now and predictable. And other teams are working out, and that's why they're struggling. But I think from what I've read about Leverkusen, obviously I can't say that I'm the expert, but from what I've read, they attack so quickly, and I think that might suit him, because I think the best thing about Chicharito is his movement and anticipation. And I think if they're not frightened to bang balls into the box from out wide, to put the ball long over the top for him to run up, I think they can benefit from his from that side of his game. And at the end of the day, I think it's difficult because he's had such a difficult time. I think he's started 23 games in the league since the summer of 2012, which is just absolutely woeful for a player of his standard. But I still believe in him. I still think he's a top striker. I don't think he's absolute elite, but I think he can fit into many clubs in Europe. And I'm backing him to do really well in Germany and be up there amongst one of the top scorers. Yeah,
and it looks like the current striker, Kiesling, who's he's playing that one big role up there right now for Bayer. And I've seen him being, just like Tom, this is all stuff that I've been reading the past couple of days. I'm not also going to pretend that I'm suddenly a Bundesliga expert overnight. But it seems like from what I've read from about him, a lot of people compare him to also being a poacher. So I think with that, perhaps Chicharito could thrive with this team. Perhaps he could thrive in maybe like in a 4-2-3-1 formation, which it looks like they've been using in their 3 matches, with him in that role up top. But then, like Andre was saying, he doesn't play 90 minutes. He hasn't been playing 90 minutes with Manchester United. He didn't play Manchester United with Real Madrid. And I think that's going to be interesting because I think it's been easy to defend Chicharito because he doesn't get a lot of opportunities. But when he does, he scores. But this might be the first time, and it's going to be his big chance to actually prove to us that he could do well, with 90 minutes, that he can actually do well if given enough time. And if he doesn't, it's going to be not just unfortunate for him, but unfortunate for the Mexican national team, who's just, he's the symbol of the squad. He's the, I don't know, he's the talisman.
There's a lot of pressure on him. He's got to do it. There's no excuse. He's 27. He's in his prime. But I agree with what Andrea said as well. It's a good point. I don't think it's been really brought up at all, really, in that, he got injured before the Gold Cup. He was recovering for like 3-4 weeks. And then he's gone straight to United without really a pre-season. And then, he missed that penalty. He slipped under the penalty. Beckham's done it before. It happens. And then he goes and misses the chance. He's not very confident. But he's also not match sharp. He's coming off the back of no pre-season.
No, that's a good point.
I have to say, though, he gets into good positions around the goal. And it's true that if Leverkusen's the type to just be shooting on goal a lot, which they do, he has good instincts to get rebounds and to pick up I don't want to say garbage goals, but to clean up rebounds and things like that. Chicharito's good at things like that, and he's young enough. He's still in his 20s. That if he does start to get 90 minutes regularly, he can develop more of an engine, and he can really make a difference with the team that way.
Yeah.
But those are my concerns, and I really think that he has no excuse or nothing or anything to fall back on. Before it was like there were such great players are keeping him back, but if he's really given a good run and he can't adjust his style to be what Leverkusen need, then it is gonna be bad.
Could be another Guardado one over there. We're all so excited. People were talking about the experience that Guardado had, just like the experience that Chicharito has. His time spent with the national team, and then he did nothing with Leverkusen. I know it's unfair to compare the two, but I feel like
it's not in the sense that it seems like Mexican players do better in Holland, in the Netherlands, and also in Spain. I would feel more confident because it just seems like the German system and the amount of time that they give players to adjust. This is going back to when Landon Donovan was also with Leverkusen. They don't give them much rope. They really don't. And especially for creative players whose style is a little bit different, it's very much adjust to us. That you do it our way or the highway. And stylistically, Mexican players seem to do better in Spain and Portugal and in the Netherlands than they do in Germany.
I mean, in that sense of him getting, I feel like Chicharito's also has been in Europe for a while, so it's not like he's coming over in the first and going into a European league. He's played in two very competitive leagues, so I'd feel that if anyone that could adjust at least to the competitiveness in that type of league would be Chicharito. And at the same time, I mean, the others, Pavel Pardo, Osorio, with Tuca, Massa Rodriguez, also playing, I think he is the sixth. He said he's the sixth player in the Bundesliga. I feel like I think he's going to be fine. It'd be interesting to note. I know everyone always talks about statistics with Chicharito, minutes per goal, but in 90 minutes, when's the largest drought he's had when he started in games? And I feel like if he's given the time in any of his teams, when he's given the minutes, he always, unless there's something completely wrong, let's say the hexagonal in 2013 for Mexico, I don't remember seeing Chicharito really not, produce, even when he wasn't getting, as long as he's getting those regular minutes. I think he's there. He's got the talent. And then we saw something in Real Madrid. I know, Andrea, you said, he's that type of poacher. I think Chicharito's evolved. We saw him in Real Madrid. His goals that he had, half of his goals, coming from shots. I think his first two, just golazos that he's had that you're like, where is this kid coming from? You see that with Mexico, too, earlier versus Ecuador in one of the El Tri games. So I feel like if he's given the minutes, he's 100%. And looking at the league, if we're seeing that play those opposition, I feel like he's do well. If he doesn't, I think it would be a failure, and that's where I just kind of see some negatives.
If he continues with the pattern of the goals he's scoring per minute, it seems like he would be pretty good for Bayer right now, because Bayer it's a small sample size. They've only played 3 games, but they only have 3 goals so far. So if that's true, then that looks like he'll do very well for them. But you never know. But then again,
he's going to need a bit of time as well. I mean, he's not going to. It's like, I don't know. He's going to need a couple of months to settle in, and then he can start being judged. You know what I mean? But
Chicharito's going to be judged right away.
Yeah, he will be judged right away, but it's not. He shouldn't be.
It's not going to be a couple of months. See, everyone's just going to be already on him. Like, it's been 3 games and he's played 220 minutes. Here it comes. It's Chicharito.
He's missed 4 penalty kicks. It's bad. It's his awful pattern that's been starting.
Ever since he's missed that
one.
But
remember, he's number 7 now, so he's evolving. He's evolving. He's Chicharito now. Chicharito is what we should be calling him now. Yeah.
Wearing the number.
Leverkusen a good side as well, and I think that's going to help him because the majority of the time they're going to be.
What position are they? Anybody know?
It's only 3 games into the season.
Yeah, it's only 3 games in, so that Pep Guardiola was saying that they could be challenging for the league. I think Pep kind of likes to talk about his opposition and likes to kind of big them up and really praise them a lot. But they're a good side. I think they're probably one of 4 or 5 in the league, 4th or 5th best.
They finished 4th place last season.
Yeah, I think so you expect him to be winning games, and obviously with Chicharito in there up front, if he starts, he has to get that start, doesn't he? But if he can do that, then I see absolutely no reason why he's not going to bang in a load of goals.
Interesting. Well, we'll be watching. I feel like obviously he was saying that he's got way more followers than the team. Chicharito when he goes in there. The social aspect of it. Smart. Here comes all the shirts in Mexico. Here comes all the shirts in the U.S., especially it's like you have your trail of Chicharito shirts, the collectible items in every team that he's got. But the 3rd league, he went to a team. What I really liked is that what he said today in an interview with Mr. Fernando Schwartz, and he did say that he's been talking to Bayer since the Real move, and he went to this team. He had other offers, and it wasn't because of the money. A lot of people were saying because of the money. It's because he really wanted playing time. I like that. Let's see how it goes here with Bayer.
I don't think he's a type of player who would look for money necessarily. He doesn't need to. His career's he's always going to be able to make money on the back of what he's achieved so far, and that's both in his career and after his career. I don't think he doesn't need that, and I think I think it's a solid move at a solid club. Like I said before, I don't think it's exceptionally kind of like exciting. Don't get you know what I mean? But then again, he doesn't want exciting. He's had exciting. He's been there. He's been at the exciting, glamour clubs, and now it's time to really make a mark on the Bundesliga, and it's for his kind of legacy as well. He really needs this to succeed because how he does it with Leverkusen is going to judge how we remember Chicharito in 10 years down the line. Because if his career ends right now, that super sub on the bench all the time, unfortunately, because he's achieved so much compared to most Mexican players. But I mean, that's what he's going to be remembered him by. So it's vital that he does well for Leverkusen now.
He's going to do well for a few years, and then LAFC are going to sign him.
Wouldn't surprise me.
There's only so much glamour that's on the bench, really, and it's very commendable that he went to Leverkusen to get more playing time. But now he's going to have to produce, and everyone who bought the Real Madrid shirts and the United shirts, I mean, in the first year it was really valid, but if he's on the bench so much and you want to buy a shirt of a player who's a star for the club, who's really done things that people who care about the club and not just the player are going to be happy about and proud about and very glad that they signed. I
not
mean,
Mexican fans.
like Guardado.
We'll buy them all.
PSV fans, have banners for him and things like that. I mean, that's when he's found the place where he's really appreciated because he's really producing and doing well for the club. And I think that, that's the kind of legacy that Chicharito needs to leave, where the club is like, we're so happy we signed him.
Yeah.
Well, I'll definitely be looking into jersey. I already have 2 Manchester United jerseys, and for sure one of them has Chicharito's name on it. So
I didn't buy a Real Madrid one. I thought he wasn't going to stay for another year, so I was like, I'm not buying one. Unless I'm a Barca fan.
Yeah, I was not one of those pink ones.
The comment on the comment section, Junior Pena saying, grade letter B overall for Chicharito to Leverkusen, potential A, we shall see. I think pretty much that sums it up for me.
There it is. Great.
Well done, YouTube guy.
on the chat. All right, well, more moves, right? It was the last day. A lot of talks everywhere.
Chicharito. He can play Champions League. That's it. All right, I'm done.
Wait, yeah, he will play Champions League. So
he can play Champions League.
He will, and he can. A lot of people were speculating that he couldn't because he did play that third round Manchester United, but he's going to play. So into the other news where at least Mr. Tecatito Corona was able to finally go in, and it's official with Porto. And then also Miguel Layun, but we'll go. He gets his own, segment. But Tecatito Corona from Twente, from what I was hearing, Tom, and I know that you were tweeting about this, but it looks like Twente was getting into some trouble, some financial trouble, and releasing a player like this, selling a player, is actually going to help them. But Tecatito, not a surprise. I think we were talking about Porto for at least a week now, but going into the club where he's really making a name for himself when he went over to Europe and to Twente, and that's the career we want Mexican players and strikers and players to go from a smaller club and then taking that step into it. So reactions from you guys, just like we did for Chicharito, especially with Tecatito. I know Quaresma is no longer there, so we see him having that role, and he showed us in Twente that he can also have the that second striker. But Tom, Tecatito, big news.
Yeah, no, it is. And I think what's interesting for me about Tecatito is, if you go back, it's almost exactly 12 months from when the Twente coach absolutely came out publicly and said that he turned up to pre-season completely not fit, completely not ready and not professional, and sent him to the B team. And if you look at where Tecatito has gone from that point to where he's at now, I think it's testament to the work he's put in and the way he took that decision, because a lot of players, away from home, very young, 21 years old, and then your coach is coming out publicly in front of everybody and saying you're overweight. But I think he's really kind of doubled his workload, and you look at it, he made his great debut for the national team. Now he's consolidated himself in just such a short amount of time for the national team. And he's earned his move, by being one of the best young players in the Eredivisie. So yeah, I'm really excited about this move. I think Tecatito's potential is absolutely huge. He's such a great little player. I think he's still got a lot to learn, and I think that Porto's the kind of club where we've seen so many players develop there that I think it's a great move. I'd say the same thing that I said about Chicharito, but stress it even more for Tecatito. Bloody hell. These nicknames get complicated after a bit, don't they? Tecatito and Chicharito and I don't know what else. But yeah, I won't surprise me if he's on the bench for the first 2-3 months, or even 6 months, or even the whole season. But I don't think that's any cause for concern.
Exactly.
I think the Porto are gonna drip feed him playing time. I think he's going to come off the bench, and I think it's a really, really good move for him, and it's exciting. I think it's exciting because he's going to play Champions League, and for me, people who read my stuff will know, for me, it's absolute peak of world football, and I think the more Mexican players that are playing at that pinnacle level, the better the national team will be eventually. So yeah, really, really excited about the move.
And he's obviously one of the most exciting young players that we have. Just you watch just anytime he touches the ball, he's a very different Mexican player. And I think I like having him on the national team, and I like those risks that he does take. But it's going to be interesting to see him take that up a level because I think, as Tom mentioned, he still needs to develop his game. I think sometimes his decision making is kind of poor. I think every time he has the ball, he wants to take on every player. There could be 5 players in front of him, and he wants to take on every single one of them. And I think that's just something. That's the next level. He needs to recognize when he needs to let go of the ball, when he needs to not make that dribble against 5 different opposition. I hope that by him going to Porto, that'll help him take it to the next level. And if he could take it to that next level, it's going to be extremely exciting because he could become. Because he already is, I think he already is probably Mexico's one of the most exciting young players. But if he can bump that up a notch, then it's going to be, he's going to become a very special player for Mexico in the future. But yeah, like Tom said, we'll see if he can get a starting role. I mean, it looks like Christian Teo, and he's one of the wingers for Porto. It looks like he's had some. He hasn't been the best, and it sounds weird to say that Tecatito can potentially take over this guy who's on loan from Barcelona. But it looks like it could be a possibility, but. We don't know. I think, like I said, it's Tecatito. He could have a game where he loses the ball 8 times in a row, and he can have a game where he just takes on 15 different players and almost scores a beautiful golazo. So we'll see. Yeah.
I think that's actually one of the best things about Tecatito, that he's got that mentality and that confidence to take on a really big challenge. And like Tom was saying, I think that's part of what made him successful when he was criticized by the coach. But I think that's really important for someone who represents Mexico in Europe to do, because you've got people like Jens Lehmann saying that Mexico players don't really like to train or haven't trained very hard. To have someone like Tecatito come back from that sort of criticism and prove that he can work really hard and he can adjust to the system, I hope that Porto don't bring him along slowly. I hope that a challenge like Porto excites Tecatito, and that mentality, look at difficult odds like 5 players. We may be like, oh, come on, don't try to take on 5 players. But I think that's what makes him successful in terms of when he went to Europe, he was willing to kind of, start at the bottom, and now he's at Porto.
There.
So that that idea of, yes, it's difficult. Yes, it looks like most people wouldn't be able to do it, but I think I can, and I'm going to go for it. I think that mentality is key to his success, and I hope he carries that with him. Yes, I think it's important for him to be more consistent, but I do want him to be very confident in the face of difficult challenges, because I think ultimately that's going to be how he finds a creative solution and really kind of, puts the name of Mexican players in alto and gets people to change their minds about what they're capable of. I mean, when they're doing stereotypes like, oh, they don't really like to work, it's just like, that makes things more difficult, because that just perception creates reality for people. And if that's the way they look at Mexican players, they can perform objectively just as well as players from other countries, but they won't be judged the same way because people's filters will be on.
I'm just wondering if we're gonna call him the Super Bock instead of Tecatito anymore. Since that's their beer sponsor. So it's not Tecate. It's a Super Bock for Porto. So.
Interesting. We got that name. I think it was in Monterrey, and they were sponsored by Tecate, and the Corona name what had it there, and then they started calling him Tecatito for it.
Yeah.
And if you're kind of stuck, it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
But people
they
still
want to
call
put
it.
Corona on
Great
his shirt,
marketing, huh? It's great
They
marketing.
didn't want to
They
put
got-
Corona on his shirt, did they?
Yeah, they didn't want to put Corona on his shirt, so they put Tecatito. It's like
Because it's the
completely.
rival beer company.
Can you imagine that happening in a U.S. like team name is like Little Gatorade?
Well, I think it'd be more so
Another
like some
person
guy's
that
last
signed-
name is like Budweiser.
Another
Or they
person
call him
that
like
signed
Miller Lite or something.
with Porto now is obviously Miguel Layun, who looks like he starts off really well in the first couple games with a goal. Then he's not on the bench. We were looking to see if it was injured. Now all of a sudden, I saw a game. I was looking at his last game. It didn't look at all that great. And now he signs with Porto. Won't spend that much time. But Cesar, your thoughts. You followed him a lot, especially in England. With his team finally, and I think we were waiting for him to get the EPL. He played in the second, and then now he's with Porto. Kind of a surprise move for me. It wasn't like, oh, I'm glad that he's going to Porto because he doesn't get playing time. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a surprise move, but he was also struggling to find time with Watford. I mean, let's not forget, at the end of the season, when they started that really successful run, little by little, Layun was becoming a bench player. He started off as a key player for the team, but then as little by little as they were doing better, he became more so on the he became more so of a substitute. And I think at the beginning of this season, he got that one start, he got the goal, but after that, I mean, it was just a couple games, but he didn't seem to be doing. He was exceeding expectations, I guess you should say. I think with Porto, it's going to be a big opportunity for him to gain more playing time, but it looks like they're going to play him as a left back. And I mean, I even saw some people, like some Porto fans, like online on Twitter, a little confused when they were trying to figure out what position he was playing in. And you try to explain that to someone, you're like, well, he's a left back, but he's a left mid, but he's also an attacking mid. And he was telling, Porto were interviewing him, after they signed him for the loan deal, and they asked him about, playing left back in that position, which is what I assume they're going to play him in. But he told them quickly after, he's like, I actually play in the midfield as well. So maybe that means he wants to play more of a midfield role, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see how he can adjust to playing back in that left back role after playing in a more so of a central attacking mid-ish kind of position for Watford.
Have we seen Layun have a good game? I mean, I know he scored that goal, but I haven't seen Layun play that well even with the national team. I mean, when have we seen Layun really go out? Even in the World Cup,
he's had his moments of brilliance.
Todo es culpa de Layun.
He's had his moments of brilliance recently. Yeah, like
I don't know.
I think
I think this is going to be the end. I don't see Layun. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But I've seen the quality of Layun and playing in Porto. I don't see him getting that much time. But maybe that's where I could go wrong.
I think he will. I think he will.
Yeah.
I think at least at the start, and then it's obviously up to him. You know what I mean? Because Alexandro left for Juventus, Danilo left for Real Madrid, and Layun's obviously right-footed. He can play on either flank. But I think he is going to get playing time, and obviously his versatility as well. And it'll be up to him to absolutely nail it down. I think it's a bit like the opposite of Tecatito, because I think Layun has to hit the ground running. He has to quickly earn himself a reputation for Porto. And let's not forget, Porto are a really, really decent team. What was it? Quarterfinals last season in the Champions League, and they defeated Bayern Munich at home. So it's a big chance for him. I think that it wasn't quite working out in the Premier League. I don't think he quite suited it. He looked very lightweight to me. Like, I don't know. He didn't kind of like fit. Even though he played well, he played well in that game and scored a goal. But I think it's again, I'm excited about this move. I really am, because it's a chance for Layun to play at a top club and see how he does. I mean, this is a guy's 27 now. He's in his prime. Let's see how good he is.
I do think that the Watford fans, because I was reading a couple of articles about the transfer in local Watford papers, and the comments from, I guess, the locals in the area was that, Layun had some good games for the team. And in general, they seemed a little bit regretful about letting him go, but also they said that he didn't really fit the current coach's formation. The way that the team was playing, he didn't really... and his style in terms of what Tom just pointed out, that the physicality of the English league was an adjustment for him. But it's also, if the formation doesn't fit, as versatile as he is, there are certain build-ups that he's not going to work well in. And I think that I agree with Tom. I think that Porto might be a better fit stylistically. Yes, he's going to have to perform, and he's going to have to contribute, but I actually think that he has a pretty decent chance of doing that. And if he shows up and does that, we could actually see the best of Layun with this team in a way that we probably never would have with Watford.
Yeah, and there's an option to buy too at the end, so it's not so after the loan. If Porto really like him, they can keep the player as well. So
isn't the loan coming from a Portuguese team? They got loaned up to Watford, and then Watford.
No, I think it was from the Italian team. He got loaned out to Watford, but then Watford signed him after that, and then
yeah. And actually, that might have been part of the motivation for Watford to loan him out, because they have to cut their list down of foreign players as well. I mean, they've been looking to do that, and if Porto gave them a good loan offer, it's undisclosed, but in general, like I said, the commenters on the Watford paper seem to think that Porto had come in with a good offer. So hopefully that means that they value Layun and they're looking to use him with the way he plays, and that's exactly what they think that their team can use.
Yeah, I think he's an extremely useful player. I mean, just the fact he plays so many positions, and I think for me, if he does play fullback under this Lopetegui, the coach, is like, look at Sandro last season and Danilo. They absolutely flew forward. And I think it's really going to suit Layun that. And I think it's a good move for him. And it was interesting. There was a story on ESPN Mexico, and one of those stories that quotes sources. But apparently, he was making half the amount of money at Watford than he was at America before he left, which to me was, it was only half surprising, because we know the wages here in Mexico are huge, but it was a bit of a shock at the same time, because the Championship's one of the best played leagues in Europe. I mean, it's higher paid than most first divisions. So, and I think he's getting a bit more money at Porto as well. And I think his family probably is easier to adapt to Portuguese life than just outside London there in Watford. So we'll see. I think it's and also let's point out, let's not forget that the fact there are so many Mexicans there now, that has to help him.
Yeah.
And not just on the field, but off the field as well, with the families and I think Layun's got a kid, Herrera's got a kid or two. These guys are, they'll be socializing outside, and I'm sure they'll feel a lot more comfortable in the home life than Layun stuck on his own in Watford.
It's the food, man. It's like Mexicans go to England and they just can't. Sorry, it's definitely the food, I think. They want their salsa. That's why Tom's here. That's why Tom's in Mexico. That's really
nothing wrong with English food.
Dude, it makes sense. Tom, what's your favorite English dish?
Mine, like shepherd's pie.
Shepherd's pie. I've never had shepherd's pie. I don't even know what shepherd pie is, to be honest.
Really?
No.
Oh man.
Next time you're in England, shepherd's pie.
It's just imagine like real gourmet food.
I prefer cottage pie because I like the beef flavor.
Okay. Next time we hang out, Tom, you're gonna have to make me some.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
As much as I would like to keep talking about food,
that.
Starving. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the Mexico game.
I'm hungry.
Coming up, just to speed things up with Tuca and his list. But first, I want to. We have a special guest on the phone. His name is Sergio. He's a leader of the Pancho Villa's army, and he wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about just a couple minutes Mexico versus U.S. The playoff game that's going to be at Pasadena in your neck of the woods, Andrea. And the tickets are coming on sale. A lot of people have been asking how to get them. You listen to the Mexican Soccer Show. You follow all of us. Most importantly, you follow. Hopefully, you follow Pancho Villa's army. But Sergio, I have you. He's on the phone right now, and he's going to kind of just chat with us a little bit on the importance of the game, and then we'll go back and talk to Tuca. Sergio, are you there?
Yeah. Hey, what's up, brother? How's it going?
Hey, how's it going, sir?
Good, man. Just loving the show. Always online with you guys, and I think that the best thing to come out of this show today was that Cliff Beer is going to have a Twitter handle here shortly. So I think someone's gonna create a Twitter handle for Cesar's beard.
Oh my god, fantastic! It's about time, you know.
That would be.
It's about time.
Out of all the things that happen in Mexican
No, but how
football
are all
today,
you guys doing? Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, no, we're doing good. I think there might be some connections issue where they can't. So Cesar, Andrea, and Tom cannot hear. Wait, Sergio, you cannot hear them. So if they ask you a question, let me know. I'll ask the question, Sergio. But Sergio, everything is good here. Tell us about how can these guys get tickets? Especially a lot of people have been asking. There's a special way. So tell us a little about the allocation of tickets and how people can get them. That way, we have a huge supported section there in Pasadena.
Exactly. There's only two ways to get tickets, and one is through registered supporter groups for the U.S. or Mexico. Obviously, for Mexico, we are the registered support group, and the other way is the lottery. The lottery will be just like the World Cup lottery. You have to register on September 9th, and I believe you will start finding out over the next couple of days after that if you were selected to be allowed to purchase a ticket. However, if you want to sit in supporter section for Mexico and party with Pancho Villa's Army and guarantee your seat, I mean, that's a big thing, guarantee a ticket to the biggest game of the year, then you have to be one of our members, and you will get a special link that will allow you to purchase your tickets and guarantee a seat for Mexico, U.S., October 10th.
So sign up to be a member, and then you're going to get a link, and then you pay with you, and then you're able to get a guaranteed seat. Is there a number of tickets that because I'm sure people are going to want to buy a lot of them? Is there?
Oh yeah, we're getting requests for lots of tickets, but it's 6 per member.
Okay.
So each person can buy 6 tickets. Obviously, to spread the tickets around to as many people as possible. And here's the thing: the tickets will probably ship out in late September.
Okay.
We don't have a definite date yet. As most of you know, this game was put on last minute because Mexico won the Gold Cup this year. So it's a very rushed situation. So information is coming out, and as soon as it comes out, we will let you guys know. But what I can tell you is that tickets go on sale tomorrow morning. It's a limited pre-sale event, and they will ship out by the end of September.
Yes. No, especially there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want these tickets. The way that the CONCACAF is doing it, this was very, very different. It wasn't like past Gold Cups finals. It's not like Mexico-U.S. They are allocating a lottery from the CONCACAF website. They're wanting it kind of like the World Cup, making sure they're in there. So to have more balance, 50-50, U.S. and Mexico fans at the stadium. So if you want tickets, definitely go be a member. It's PanchoVillasArmy.com. Is that right, Sergio?
Yeah, that's correct.
And then there's a link there. Sign up, be a member, and you can start purchasing your tickets. Pancho Villas gave me a number. They have a lot of tickets, and they're able to obviously if you get your own. Tom's asking. This is a family. You always invite kids, you invite family, you invite everyone, correct?
Oh yeah. Okay. We are a family organization. We're not a barra brava. We're just a group of people who like to hang out. Families, children, come out, enjoy it. We'll have mariachis, like we always do. We do a big pre-party. We're hoping to do something really special. And then in the stands, it's all about respect. So, I bring my kid out to the games, and a lot of people bring their kids and their wives to the games. So please come, enjoy it, and be respectful.
Yeah, no, I've been with Pancho Villas Army, and it's great to be with them. There isn't a supporters group out there for El Tri. A lot of people just go, but it's great to come together. And the story that Pancho Villas have, we've talked about it here. So definitely, all of you guys that are out there that want to be part of this, get with Pancho Villas Army. There's a lot of their fans that travel. I've met people from Dallas, from San Antonio, from Denver, here from Phoenix, and they all get together before the game, and they all walk. It's awesome to see that march. From a place, from usually a Mexican restaurant to the stadium, and I think that walk in Pasadena, right? It's a great walk to walk down, especially and then coming back out. So thank you so much, Sergio. We'll be tweeting out the link after the show, and any questions you can always check on their Twitter at PVA. Is it Pancho Villas Army? Sergio, is that your Twitter?
Yeah, the Twitter's at Villas Army.
Okay, at Villas Army.
Yep, but you can find us there. You can find us online at our website, PanchoVillasArmy.com, and from there find a link to our Twitter handle. But the only thing I want to add is I hope I finally get to meet Andrea, and if she wants to come to give me a quick tweet.
Oh, there it is. All right, Sergio, last but not least, you're confident in Mexico winning, right? I mean...
Of course.
Of course.
I don't know why that's a question.
That was a question. All right, Sergio, well, thank you so much, and we'll be talking to you. Any more information, just let us know. And that was Sergio from Pancho Villa's Army. Great to have him on.
Good times.
Guys, there it is. We should have a big representation. We'll go into a little bit on the ticket.
Shout out for my local Pasadena crowd that September in Pasadena is basically completely summer. So, people are going to come out the whole day. And Mexico has a great history at the Rose Bowl. That's where they won, of course, the 2011 Gold Cup in their big comeback win, where they reversed the 2-0 in spectacular style. Gio Dos Santos scored a really memorable goal where he just made Tim Howard look rather foolish.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see what's happening now in 2015. But I guess that segues right into the next topic of conversation, which is transition.
And the fact that Gio or Jonah won't be scoring against
Gio will not
Tim
be scoring. So let's go into it, guys.
Possibly not. I mean, but really, does it? Because it doesn't necessarily mean just because he wasn't called for the friendlies, he's not going to be.
I think he's not going to get called.
I'd be very surprised. He could score like 70 goals
talk about the 23. Let's talk about the 23. Tuca Ferretti giving out his list. 12 p.m. on a Friday. And you remember when I said, I'm like, where's this guy's list? If it comes out on like Friday, it means that there's going to be like people. Bad news come out on Friday, especially from the press.
What? I thought it came out on a Thursday. I'm pretty sure it came out on a Thursday.
I thought it was a.
No, it's Thursday.
Oh, it was a Thursday. I'm sorry, it was a Thursday.
Close enough.
Well,
Close enough.
My story. But I tweeted out, you know what? Don't expect anything big from Tuca Ferretti. It's gonna be a couple people from the Copa America, maybe some from the Copa Oro. No big, losses. No one called up no naturalizados, and then no Gio, no Jonathan, and obviously no Memo. Tom, why? People were talking about discipline issues. But we didn't see the FMF do that. In fact, the FMF sent the letters, right, to Jonathan Dos Santos, and I think Gio also. And but everyone's expecting. In fact, it was leaked out to Villarreal saying, "Great, these are the people that are going." Jonathan Dos Santos tweeting himself, "I can't wait. It's such a joy to be in the national team." And then all of a sudden, Tuca takes over, and he's not on the team. Tom, help us understand Tuca. What happened? Why they're not on the team?
Oh, it is a really difficult one because there's like a rational way of looking at it, and then sometimes you learn with Mexican football not to view it rationally. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's ridiculous to view it rationally, and I think that my best guess is that, and people disagree and people do disagree, but my best guess is he wanted to break up the hardcore friendship group within that squad, which was making quite a lot of decisions and getting things all their own way under Miguel Herrera, which is why they loved him. And I think that Ferretti thought, right, Giovanni Dos Santos isn't going to start for me, Jonathan isn't going to start for me, and Memo Ochoa is not even playing, so I'm going to leave those three off. And that's what he's done. And I think it's like a kind of stamp of authority that he's in charge, this is what he's going to do. And the players have got to work with him. They might not be happy that Herrera's not there, but, I mean, I don't know. But obviously there's the other theory that, especially Giovanni Dos Santos and Jonathan have been punished. It's a really difficult one to know what's happened. I mean, the strange thing for me was that when Oribe Peralta pulled out injured, then you think, okay, surely Giovanni Dos Santos is the next one. But no, Henry Martin from Cholos, who made his debut just a tiny little bit over a year ago. I mean, don't tell me that he's a better option off the bench against the United States if Mexico are 1-0 down with 20 minutes to go. Then the kid who's playing in California knows the US and he's been there and done it for so many years with Mexico. I mean, it's a strange one. It really is weird.
Yeah, no. Andrea, you had a chance to interview Gio last week. We all saw your fabulous interview with ESPN. Congratulations, as being one of the first ones to have him on, especially speaking in English. I've never seen Gio. I know he was in Tottenham, but actually have an interview in English in the way he did it, so congratulations for that. But you asked him a question about Tuca Ferretti, and he was happy. Like, did you get a vibe that, don't tell me about Tuca, I don't want to have to ask a question? It looked like he had no prior knowledge. Tell us a little bit about your interaction with Gio.
Well, he was doing the if I get called, but it seemed kind of like sort of
Political answer, right?
Yeah, well,
Kind of like, I don't want to talk about it.
Confident about it, you know. He's like, because I asked him about how he would feel possibly facing Galaxy teammates Giassi Zardes and Omar Gonzalez, who are now his teammates with the Galaxy, how he would feel facing them in that match. And he mentioned it's, you know, going to be a little bit strange, but with my national team, I always give 100%, and it doesn't matter who's on the other side. And then at the end, he was like, "Oh, if I get called, I'm going to play 100% all out. It doesn't matter if I know the people on the other side." And he had to throw that in, but it seemed like he was pretty confident he was going to get called. And Jurgen Klinsmann called Giassi Zardes and Omar Gonzalez, so I was right on those guesses. But
you were right.
You know, yeah, no. And I thought they had less of a chance than Gio. And frankly, I'm not a fan of those kind of coaching power moves. I think especially for an interim coach of 4 games, your obligation to the national team should really be to call the best players, especially for such an important game as the Confederations Cup ticket. If it was just some friendlies and Tuca wanted to give some, like, you know, younger players a little bit of a run out, yeah, sure, whatever. But the U.S. game and the Confederations Cup berth is very important for Mexico. Mexico has had some of its best international performances at the Confederations Cup, and that's not the sort of thing that you should take lightly. Like Tom was saying, having Gio on the bench as an option, having Jonah, who Jonathan played really well, you know, in the Gold Cup, and I really thought it was kind of his coming out party, stepping out of his brother's shadow and really contributing in a way that Mexico needs, and to just wipe out both those options because they're brothers and they possibly might have some loyalty to the former coach, and Tuca has to, like, stamp himself on this team for freaking 4 games. Sorry, excuse my French. But yeah, I'm kind of disappointed in Tuca. I thought he was a decent choice as interim, but when I saw this lineup, I just thought, really, Tuca? You know, you gotta, like, you know, ponte tus pantalones and show off what a big guy you are by, you know, not calling the best players. And really, if you look at Gio's current form with the Galaxy, it's pretty darn good. I know it's MLS, and some people are like, "Oh, what a step down," but he's playing alongside some quality players, Steven Gerrard and Robbie Keane, and against some pretty decent players like David Villa. And he's.
I think for me, Andre, you know, he doesn't go from playing 3 months ago in Villarreal to playing 3 months now with Galaxy and be bad. But I think the key for me, from just, you know, what you're saying is that he's confident now. He looks like he's absolutely full of confidence, and I mean that has to be good for the national team.
Yeah,
especially when you see, like, certain players, like having, like, example of Chicharito, when he's been struggling to have minutes in Manchester United. Raúl Jiménez, you know, he struggled to have minutes at Atletico Madrid, and he's still coming. I mean, I know he just moved to Benfica, but he's not a starting player just yet. So why are we? And as Andrea said, you know, it's, you know, some people like to make fun of MLS. Some people say it's, you know, not that good of a league, but he is right now the most informed striker. He had that one bad game against the Earthquakes, you know, on Friday. Yeah, there you go. But the thing is that he's going to bounce back. You know, he's been doing extremely well with the Galaxy. So it's just it's ridiculous. But at the same time, I think that Tuca knows that he can beat the U.S. without Jonah and Gio and Ochoa. And I believe Tom's theory where he says that, you know, that he wants to break up, you know, that little bit of, you know, foundation of the friendships that they had. You know, that it was like the Gio, Jonah, Ochoa, and it looked like Vela and, you know, a little bit of Chicharito as well. Reyes too, yeah. And basically, like, every day you just saw them, like, taking selfies with each other, like, constantly. But I think that, I think Tuca knows that he could still beat the U.S. without those key players. And even though they do deserve, and I think even Jonah is a little bit more of a bigger miss than Gio, because Jonah was crucial. He was highly important in the Gold Cup, and he was an excellent player. It is still quite ridiculous that neither of them are.
I don't know what's going on with the old federation. I'm kind of bit down about it. I mean, it's just I don't see any clear vision about what's going on moving forward. I mean, Tuca Ferretti, he can make his decisions. He's the interim coach, but I mean, what is going on when, according to what the official word is, the FMF talked to Tuca Ferretti to offer him the job full time, and then he was like, "No, I'm not doing it full time. Hey, I'll do it on an interim if you want." And it's like, what? And then they accept that. I mean, for me, that signifies that there is no long-term plan, that they don't have anything in place. And for a coach to reject a full-time job and then put himself forward for interim, and then they accept it. I mean, I understand on a practical level they needed someone in place, but put it this way, Ferretti is very different as a manager in terms of his style, in terms of playing style, than Miguel Herrera. Mm-hmm. Extremely different. Mm-hmm. In terms of the Mexican scale, because I don't think there's a wide difference between teams in the Liga MX, but in terms of the Mexican style and the Mexican scale of how to play, I think Herrera and Tuca Ferretti are quite opposite. And I think that, I don't know. And I think moving on, what's next? Do you know what I mean? We've heard very little about who's to come in. It's going to be very interesting to see how the players react to Tuca Ferretti, knowing that he's only going to come in for 4 games. Obviously, this is the FMF. He might stay longer. Although it's been completely ruled out, it may happen. I mean, you never rule anything out. But, I mean, I'm just disappointed that we've not heard any, kind of developments about new names coming forward or what's going on, about, just something to excite people moving forward, because I just think this is the same old short-termism that Mexico has had for so long, and it's just so disappointing.
Well, it's definitely disappointing. It's in the way that in the last week it's supposed to be good news, having an interim coach, and obviously what's happening with going back to the Gio. There's something strange because it doesn't make sense. And everyone's trying to point out to me if it was because of the Twitter comments, Ochoa not getting a call. We know he's not playing. It's the first coach. It's not like Piojo called him when he wasn't playing, and other coaches did. We understand that. Jonathan having a great. He says it's because it's football-wise that he doesn't want to use them or they don't fit in his system. Jonathan Dos Santos can fit in his system. I don't see him that he's such a, I don't see an Aquino not fitting into a Piojo system. I really think it's something strange. And now that Andrea is mentioning it, hopefully, and this is what I hope for, is that they had a talk with him. They said, hey, you know what, calm down on the attitude, the tweets that you did. And that was Ferretti saying, on my personal choice, calm down on all this and the way that you guys are and the brotherhood that you guys have, just the 2 players. Ochoa just because he's not playing, and then obviously Corona is not there anymore. But I think hopefully you're not going to be in the Argentina game, and then get ready for the following games, which would be the US.
But I mean, Weezer, the thing for me that makes no rational sense to me at all, because it's like they're punishing in spite of. I mean, why are they punishing themselves? I mean, not just the players, they're punishing the whole team.
But
they're punishing the chances of reaching the Confederation Cup.
That's just Tuca, and Andrea said it. You didn't like that kind of tactic, but that's just Tuca because it wasn't the Federation. The Federation would have done it. They'll be willing to slap somebody's hand right away and say, hey, you know what? You're suspended for 2 games, or we didn't like your attitude. It wasn't the Federation. It wasn't Cantu. It wasn't anyone. It was Tuca.
Why would Tuca not just speak to him and say, look, we're not happy about this, but we've got a really important game coming in. We've got a really important game coming up, and obviously we can't just go into a game just completely cold with a new coach with not knowing the style.
He's taking a gamble.
It could take
why gamble against yourself? Why gamble in a way that's going to lower the risk?
He doesn't care. He's not going to be in 4 games. He's out in 4 games.
It's like,
you know what? I'd rather have a team that's going to listen to me.
But really, if I think I can beat the U.S., let's say 70% chance, but having these players in would make it like 80%. I mean, why wouldn't I do that? And then, having the players, actually play together and prepare well, that would be like 85%. Why wouldn't you do that? If your priority is the national team and the country that the national team represents getting this benefit of the Confederations Cup play, why wouldn't you do that? Just to make, some ego move about I'm in charge for 4 games, it does not make it, does not compute.
That's what maybe he's saying. He's like, you know what? I'm taking a gamble now. If I don't do this, I'm not gonna have a good group to face such an important game in the U.S. I'm just saying.
We still have to see we still have to see the roster for. We don't know what the roster is gonna be like before the game. I'm gonna assume that these players that we have right here, except unless maybe like Henry Martin scores like 3 goals against Trinidad and Tobago. I highlighted it. I think that. Yeah, no, he's not.
Tom and I are like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you prepare?
No, I believe me. I'm with you there. I'm the one that asked the question. I'm just trying. No. I'm finding hope. That's what I've always done. I'm trying to find one solid reason as to why Tuca would do it.
What I think you've got something is, well, it wouldn't surprise me when you say something weird's going on. That would not surprise me one bit. When I say that, maybe Jonathan and Giovanni are doing a bit of a Vela.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just absolutely no basis.
And it could have happened because at first when they didn't call up, you know what? It could have been, you know what? Don't call me right now. I don't like the decision. I don't like what's going on right now. Don't call me. And to get something out to, because like, fine. It's like there's something going on that is, those 3. I can see Ochoa. I don't see why Jonathan, even if Gio didn't fit in, there's something going on that's just like maybe they didn't want to. And you could see it, guys. When they didn't get called, did you not think of yourself? Didn't you go, oh, man, Tuca's not going to want to call him, and then next he was going to want to call him for October, and Jonathan and, those bros, and Cicinho will be like, sorry, we're going to say no to the national team when you need us because you didn't, we can't be convenient. And there comes another Vela drama.
Maybe it's because they just opened up a restaurant in Spain. They have prior commitment to the restaurant. I forget what it's called. I think it's called I forget.
Yes.
There you go. That's what it is.
So it's really named after Gio. I actually asked him about it in the interview, and he said, yeah, maybe he'll open one in LA next. So I can do a restaurant review on Gio's restaurant, maybe.
He's a busy man. He could either play against Trinidad and Tobago, Argentina, or serve some customers.
But yeah, that's the thing. In talking to him, it really did seem like he was excited to play with El Tri again, and to have this match be in his backyard. I mean, think about the irony of that. He lives in LA now.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be at the match, even if he doesn't get called in, because
to go to a basketball game like Vela.
Yeah.
He could literally drive over there, and to not get called in, how bittersweet is that when he's finally and I actually think that it would have given him a chance to be in good form for Mexico in more ways than one, because a lot of the European, U.S., and Mexico players have talked about how jet lag takes a toll, how there's an adjustment from the climate, the time zone that they have to make when they're coming in from Europe. And he didn't have that adjustment. His brother would have, but then his brother tweeted, how proud he was to get that first call from the FMF, what he thought. I mean, I really think that they're taking a chance here, the Tuca and all the administrators in charge, to really have the initial call go out and then say, no, I don't want this player that his club has already been asked to release.
And that's why I'm also thinking about
it's
the FMF.
That's kind of humiliating, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying about the FMF going, no, wait a second. You're not going to call the guys that we already called. We're going to look real stupid, guys. And they're okay with that. They're okay with it. That's why I'm like, there's something going on. When you said, he might be, I hope that, Tuca's just doing this and he had talks with him or something's there, and we're going to see him playing in those games. Let's just hope for the best. And in the same time, someone's talking to Bielsa. That's just in a perfect world, right? It's perfect
no. That's not happening. Don't. I want Bielsa there. I know it's not going to happen. It's gonna, like we said, it's gonna be like Ojito's message, just like it's good. Good old days with Ojito's message.
Juan Carlos Osorio.
Cesar doesn't want to get his hopes up.
No. I feel depressed every time we talk about coaches.
There it is. Nacho Ambriz. Apparently, Nacho Ambriz is the greatest thing.
You're not excited by Juan Carlos Osorio? He's the new thing.
Osorio. I mean, that's just so unexciting. I mean, he failed at New York Red Bulls.
No, he didn't fail at New York Red Bulls.
Where did
he fine with New York Red Bulls. He failed with Chicago Fire. You gotta,
And he failed at Puebla.
Get your MLS.
Puebla. He failed at Chicago and Puebla. Then he's gonna propel himself to the national team. And it's just surreal.
closing off the show. We're running out of time, but Mexico obviously plays on Friday versus Trinidad and Tobago. Tom, you're going to be at the game, flying to Utah. I don't think Mexico ever. I don't remember Mexico playing in Utah.
I think it's first time ever. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
How many of us are even in Utah? There's got to be like 4 of us out there, something like that, right? In Utah? I have no clue. Salt Lake City is a big...
Kansas City, so it's pretty much, hopefully you'll see it. So, Tom, you're going to be there. Really quickly, in a couple minutes, just what do you expect from this game, Tuca's teams? And, Trinidad and Tobago, who the lineup came up. Did anybody look at the lineup to see if it mimicked the lineup from the Gold Cup? Because,
there's a couple of players missing. Yeah,
huh?
Kenwin Jones is out. Kenwin Jones is out, which is massive. I mean, he's massive, and it is massive because he's the central part of the strike force. And then they've got a centre back out as well. So, and they've only called up 20 players. So I don't know how much we're going to learn from this first game. If I was to make a guess, and obviously it's Tuca's first game, but just from watching Tuca in the Liga MX, I think he'll play his best team straight away. I think he'll play the team he thinks will face the United States. And I think he'll do the same against Argentina, and I don't think he will bother with kind of giving people minutes here and there like Miguel Herrera probably would have.
Yeah. Well, he did call him his 2 last calls, so we'll see how it is. But guys, great show. I can't believe it's already been an hour. I'd like to thank Andrea for jumping on. We're trying to one day have a show a little bit more about Gio. Maybe get Gio. You have your contact now. Have Gio come on. He speaks English now. He's doing English interviews, and hopefully get a bit.
Well, so Gio's watching. He wants to go to the game. Contact Pancho Villa's Army. You can sign up, and maybe you can go to the game. Gio. If you're lucky, though. Yeah.
The FMF has 30% of those tickets. What is the FMF doing with those 30%? Because we already seen the USS. The soccer saying, to all the supporters or whatever. So that's where I'm a little bit upset about how.
Yeah. How many tickets did Pancho Villa's Army got?
I know it's a large amount, a large amount.
Really?
But like you're saying there, Weasel, so after Pancho Villa's Army's tickets, what's the rest of the 30% of the Mexico
Exactly.
Nobody knows.
I think we're going to see a game where finally I think there's going to be a lot more U.S. supporters, and I'm saying, they're wanting the 50-50. I'm a little surprised of how the CONCACAF is doing it. If they're really doing it on a lottery, that's not going to, unless they're picking names. Jones, you can go. Vasquez, we're going to wait for the what? How are they going to wanting to have 50-50? Because I feel like they're getting.
Jones family is rooting for Mexico, and the Vasquez family is.
It's like I don't see how you're going to want to do 50-50 because even the World Cup, if you go to I was at the Croatia-Mexico game, it was still 80% Mexico.
There's still. It looks like the CONCACAF released.
You have to understand that people from the United States bought more tickets for the World Cup than any other country in the past World Cup, so it's really grown. But you realize
that's assuming that all those tickets for the U.S. for the U.S. and not Mexico.
No, that's what I'm saying. That a lot of the people who bought tickets from the U.S. bought them for Mexico games. So when they threw out this statistic of people from the U.S. bought all these tickets, a lot of them bought tickets for other games, not the U.S. games.
Yeah, no.
But at the same time, the U.S. supporters have really been growing, and I think that. It kind of leads into some of the cultural things. You're right that Mexico games are a big family thing, but they're also like a big walk-up thing. Like people will show up early the day of and buy tickets. And a lot of the people who plan trips, the U.S. supporters, they did the pre-planning through the supporters groups, through the little organized package stuff.
For the Gold Cup final,
individually, for their families, more for Mexico. For the
Gold Cup final 4 years ago, they were sold out 3 months before. That final in Pasadena, they were. People still get on a Ticketmaster and got them. I remember we had to find channels to get. I was at that game, and it took these big games, U.S. on a big level. I think it would sell out on Ticketmaster or whatever. But I just don't like the fact that they are doing a lottery. And the 30% goes to supporters, and I think on Tom on what we're saying, I don't know any Mexican supporters like like Sam's Army or you know, like American Outlaws. I know PVA for Pancho Villas, but that's not out of 87,000 tickets. I don't think they're getting 30% of it. So
I understand it all. I understand the whole concept. The only thing I don't understand, or I don't trust, that the Mexican Federation are going to be able to organize their end. I think U.S. Soccer are going to do it. Be all really smooth. I think they'll be fine. It'll be CONCACAF World Cup style. And then I think that 30% of the Mexican Federation has. I don't know. I don't even want to say anything. I mean, obviously within that you've got Pancho Villa's Army, which will have a good few thousand, I imagine. But then apart from that,
I think that's going to go to, in the World Cup, they had those cruise ships, right? If you remember, there were 7 cruise ships that were going to the ports. No.
That's the most World Cupian thing I've ever said. No, you know, the World Cup is cruise ships.
I was there when there were where there's you know the cruise ships, and there were obviously thousands of people on those cruise ships, and all those thousands of people were Petro de Mexico, the one from from Mexico. There were all these sponsored companies that got their employees. And it was like one cruise ship was all Petro, one cruise ship was Corona, the other cruise ship was, I think that's where the 30% are going. So, I mean, if you want tickets, guys, go to the Pancho Villas Army. It's the best way, especially for the U.S. supporters.
Go to Pemex. Find the closest cruise ship.
All right, guys, well, it was a fun show. Cesar, thank you again. And obviously, you can follow Cesar on his Twitter. Cesar,
Cesar H. Football. Cesar H. Football. The fact that I said Cesar and H says so much about my Mexican-Americanness.
Cesarache. Mr. Tom, you're flying on Wednesday to Utah. Have fun. Have fun, and then then I'll see you on Sunday at in Arlington in Dallas Stadium, where you get to have some TV time this time, right?
Yeah, should be doing some stuff on TV at halftime against Argentina. So should be exciting.
Just pretend like you're talking to us.
Yes.
No, I don't know if that'll go
What's
down
wrong
too well.
with the FMF? I don't get it. I want you to say that. Tom, I want you to say meow on the when you're talking. Just write meow.
I want you to talk about shepherd's pie.
Shepherd, you gotta bring shepherd pie. You gotta do something for your fans here on Mexican Talk Show on live TV. I mean, you gotta do something just so we all can go high. I believe it. All right, Andrea, thank you again, guys. We've gone out of time. Thank you to everybody on the chat, all of you guys. Please like our YouTube page. Subscribe. Go ahead, Cesar, do the subscribe motion.
Subscribe. There's a little red box. Click subscribe. It's as easy as that. That's all you gotta say. That's all the work that you have to do too. It's just one click. It's not that much work.
There
and
it
then
is.
You can follow all of our stuff.
Subscribe. All right, guys. Last words from Cesar. Always like to squeeze in. Champions League. Lots of Mexicans playing in Champions League coming up this season.
Not this week. I mean, looking forward this week. It's just the Friday game. It's gonna be weird. I don't know. There's gonna be like I don't even know what there's really to look forward to this week before Friday. Just like friendlies and what. There's gotta be like the Johnston Stone like Capital One Cup or something. I don't know.
No, I was saying that.
But yeah.
Lots of Mexicans in Champions League this season. That was like the
last yeah. I thought you were talking about this week. Like,
oh, no, not this week. I'm sorry.
I was like, no,
this week, Tigres versus Club America. I'm really looking forward to that game. They're both playing well right now. It should be, Ignac versus
2 weeks, yeah.
Peralta. I mean, so coming up this weekend.
I thought the games were.
It's in 2 weeks. It's a FIFA date.
Oh, that's right.
2 days.
But it's the next one.
Yeah. That's
just to say that Liga MX, they're both playing well right now. We didn't go over any Liga stuff, but yeah, these weekend games they both look really, really good. So looking forward to that once the league returns.
Super leader still, but we'll just keep it on the DL. Being in there.
I still think America are a little bit better, and it hurts me to say that, but I think they're the best team right now.
All right, guys, this is great. Been the Mexican Soccer Show. Please follow us, Mex Soccer Show on Twitter also, and we'll be having hopefully a pre-show on the Trinidad and Tobago game on Friday. Yeah. And then next Monday, the preview versus Argentina. I will be in Arlington, so we'll be making sure we're doing some kind of show before that. But it should be a lot of fun. We'll see where Tuca can take us, guys. This has been another edition.
Final word.
What, Tom?
I've got a final word here. Got a comment from that one time. this is for everybody watching and listening, just to ponder for the next week before the next show.
Oh, I like it.
Maybe instead of actually hiring a new coach, they will just find interims. There we go.
That's it. I like it. Just keep finding interims.
Just a conveyor belt of interims.
Yeah. All right. Who's next? I think Tom will take a turn. Andrea will take a turn. I'll get one. Wiso maybe. Yeah, I'm down with that. We can take control.
Oh, is it
All right,
final?
guys. Have a good night. Signing off from the Mexican Soccer Show. Andrea, don't leave.